Did Donald Trump just score a massive legal victory for 2024? This is The Brink. And folks, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like me and you like what we do here. And if you love it, you can also become a Daily Caller Patriot. There's a link down in the description below. And folks, please make sure that you are sharing this with people who will love it, who will hate it. Just share it. It means so much to me and it helps me a lot. So the Minnesota Supreme Court, they threw out a request to have Donald Trump kicked off the ballot for the 2024 primaries. So basically what happened is a bunch of crybabies sued and they claim that Trump is ineligible for office because he gave a speech on January 6th. You know, the same argument that we're hearing over in Colorado, the same argument that people and these pundits make on TV. Now, the court ruled that just because you win the primary doesn't mean you're going to end up on the general election ballot. So they did rule that the case could possibly be brought back up. But the general 14th Amendment claims that we're seeing is, Donald Trump incited an insurrection, right? He engaged in one on January 6th, and therefore he's disqualified to run under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Who said that? So the question is, again, whether Donald Trump engaged in an insurrection and therefore cannot hold office and then obviously would have to be removed from the ballots. This clause was created after the Civil War to prevent any former Confederates who rebelled against the Union from holding office. But the very first question that needs to be answered in order to apply this clause is whether Donald Trump falls under the category of an officer of the United States, because the 14th Amendment, it's very clear about senators, representatives, military officers, but not the presidency. But we do have a partial answer. So Chief Justice John Roberts, he issued the 2010 opinion in the case Free Enterprise Fund versus Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, in which he states that, quote, the people do not vote for the officers of the United States, and that they are actually appointed exclusively pursuant to Article 2, Section 2 procedures. So if people don't vote for officers of the United States, then Trump, who was voted in by the people, is not an officer. So arguing that Donald Trump is an officer is likely an argument that will make its way right up to the Supreme Court, something that we, of course, will be watching right here on The Brink. So we'll come back to this topic like we've been. And staying on Trump, so he told a federal appeals court that Judge Tanya Chutkan doesn't have the right to, quote, muzzle him by issuing a gag order. So Chutkan, at the request of Jack Smith, issued the gag order that blocks Trump from making public statements targeting, that's the word she used, targeting Smith, his staff, the defense counsel, court staff, witnesses, you name it. But Trump is arguing that it's a sweeping gag order that has no nuance, right, no tailoring, and is essentially a state-sanctioned censor of any criticism that Trump wants to lodge at public figures who may, in some instances, deserve some public criticism, right? Jack Smith, his team, these are all government employees. So in simple terms, a court is trying to stop a private citizen from criticizing the government. That is exactly why we have the First Amendment, right? It's not some new incident in which the government punishes those who criticize it, right? This is something that has been happening since the inception of the United States. Let's go back to 1722, all right? A long time ago. A man by the name of James, he was thrown in jail for weeks after he published some anonymous critiques of the government. James also happened to be the brother of Ben Franklin, who was 16 years old at the time. And what did Ben and others do? They revolted, right? We literally broke away. We created an entirely new nation because this type of thing was happening all the time. Now, did you know that any vehicle sold after 2026 has to have a kill switch that will literally turn your car off based on how well you drive? Yeah, and did you also know that Thomas Massey's amendment to defund the mandate failed because Republicans and Democrats teamed up on that one? So basically, this provision was tossed into a bill that has hundreds of pages, and of course, no one ever reads them because, you gotta pass them to know what's in them.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
But the legislation literally says that the technology would prevent motor operation if someone may be impaired. Now look, obviously the intention is clear, right? It's for drunk drivers, and I respect the ambition to keep these dangerous people off the road, okay? But let's look at the pitfalls. For starters, there are bad drivers out there. My sister's one of them, okay? They swerve, they go fast, then they go slow, they suck, right? A lot of times you might be saying, my God, is that person drunk? Where's a cop when you need one? But they're not, right? They just suck at driving. But now that person could be at risk of having their car just shut down on them because Big Brother says so. Second, it's drunk driving now, but But in the future, will it be convenient glitches of, I don't know, parents who want to go and protest school board meetings? Voters on their way to make it to the polls right before they close? Will it just be glitches that every single car shuts down one day? Total chaos, right? You give an inch and best believe the government will take a mile. Is that the risk that you're willing to run? Call up your representatives on this one, okay? There are other ways to go about this, right? Someone's been arrested for a DUI, you don't want them on the road again, and you want to make sure it's safer. Add an individual monitor to their vehicle to keep track and stop them, right? Let there be punishment for individual actions, not these collective punishments. And the View's Joy Behar, she catches herself after she initially appeared to say that the 2016 election results were illegitimate. Have a listen.
By the way, Mrs. Clinton did win the popular vote.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I continue to believe that you won. I don't care what they say. You have to correct something.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want the impression to be made that I didn't accept the results of the Trump administration to win. But I don't like the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And you won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that needs to be addressed.
But wait, there's more. You think The View would get through an episode without mentioning racism?
Because it's not one person, one vote.
It's based on slavery.
Yeah, and I think it's un-American.
Yeah,
That's all.
I certainly agree with that.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Yeah. So the Electoral College requires more than just the raw votes to win, okay? It requires a geographical balance meant to protect small town voters so that they're not disenfranchised, okay? The Electoral College is designed to prevent an event in which a president simply wins because of regional density, okay? That is why Hillary Clinton lost, right? She didn't appeal to all Americans. She appealed to a few, coastal voters. But the map says it all. God, look at that map. Hillary Clinton did not appeal or represent, basically the entire country once you knock off California and New York, right? Population dense areas. But they don't represent America, like the core of America, right? So the idea is that a president has to go out and win over those small town rural voters, right? Have more moderate and centrist policies that cater to farmers and workers, right? Not just cater to the coastal cities that have become increasingly far left and dominated by, big banks, big tech, right? In fact, James Madison warned in Federalist 10 of a pure democracy in which, quote, the public good is disregarded by parties and instead decided, quote, on the superior force of an interested and overbearing majority. That's mob rule, right? That's, we got 51, you got 49, so we get our way. How does that sound fair? That two people are the deciding factor. That's how you need to think about it when you think about the Electoral College, right? Why we still have it. Because it's a question when I was younger in high school, I was not understanding, right? But as I got older, as I read the Federalist Papers, you begin to understand that we're not a democracy, right? We live in a constitutional republic, thank God. But pure democracies, they're dangerous, right? And unfortunately, Joy Behar doesn't understand this. I would be more than happy to go on The View and explain this to her. So if you see this, invite me on. My email's brianna@dailycaller.com. Folks, share this with your other friends who may be questioning the Electoral College or don't know about it because it's important, right? You got to stay on the fight. You got to stay up with the facts. Folks, we will be right back here tomorrow with more On the Brink. And please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do to this video. Help a girl out.